I'm Jamie, and welcome back to my channel, Jamie Sage Knits, where I talk about all things knitting. And today I am sharing my podcast, I think number 9. I haven't had a chance to share a podcast since before my wedding and honeymoon, which obviously were very exciting, but very busy as well. So it's been a couple of months, a lot has happened, and I'm excited to catch you up today. If you're interested in further updates, please feel free to subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below what you have been working on. What is your favorite project of the kind of spring, summer months thus far? So I think I have like 6 or 7 finished objects to share with you and several works in progress as well. I'm really excited to dive in. Before we get to that, I just want to mention what I'm wearing today. This is the Concha top by Caledonia Dreamin', and it is a tank top with this kind of like slip stitch vertical ribbing and a little crochet border. It's really cute. I originally had made it for one of my wedding events, but decided not to wear it. Talked about it a little bit, I think, in my previous podcast. But yeah, I think it's still like a really nice summery top, and I knit this in Ilana Camisole in the color Bone, held double. So yeah, with that, let's dive into the finished objects. First up, we have one that I actually don't have with me because it was a gift knit, but I'll insert a photo. This is the Ingrid Sweater by Louise Fredrickson, which is a 2-color brioche with these very striking leaf motifs in the yoke. So it's worked top down with a circular yoke, recommended on 7mm needles. I used 6.5 because I don't have 7mm for my interchangeable set. And I have mentioned this in previous podcasts. I made it as a gift for my mom. She really wanted a cotton sweater. We talked about some of the issues with that, of like how heavy it can be, but that is what she wanted. And so I used Knit Picks Dishy in the colors Swan and Black with 2 strands held together. The sizing of this pattern, I've mentioned before, is quite limited. It's like 39 to 42.5 inch finished bust. I did the largest size. And usually I don't know if I would knit a pattern that is that limited, but my mom really fell in love with this pattern. I think in my last update I had finished the sleeves and I was just finishing up the body length. I did that. I made a couple of alterations to the pattern that I had mentioned I think before. I made the yoke shorter because I noticed the weight of the cotton was like stretching it out, and I don't want the armpits to be like down here. So especially towards the end of the yoke, I eliminated some rows, especially like between decrease rows, so I just made the decreases and like the end of the yoke closer together and shorter. And then I also made straight sleeves rather than bishop sleeves. That was just my mom's preference. I added a couple of decreases to the sleeves, so even though they were mostly straight, they were a tiny bit tapered. And I also I used an Italian bind off in Fisherman's Rib, just like a couple of rows rather than doing the whole ribbed cuff, and then I did a similar style for the bottom bind off. So I was very happy with it. I've mentioned before, this was a super frustrating project to work on, mostly just because of the cotton. I don't think I would knit another garment in iron like that, especially with 2 strands held together. It was just really unwieldy. But my mom is really happy with the finished product, and it was a special project to work on. I gave it to her right before my wedding, and she wore it for the welcome event, so that was really nice. And overall I am happy with this project, but I can't say certainly that I would recommend knitting it in cotton, and because of the limited size range, it also comes with, the recommendation will come with reservations, but I did find the pattern pretty clear overall. Next up, we have another wedding-related project. I've talked about this a fair amount in previous videos, but I just wanted to officially share it as a finished object. So this is my very adapted version of the Kaarina Tee by Sari Nordland. And I knit this up in the recommended yarn, which is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Cream with 2 strands held together. So this has a finished bust ranging from 41 to 71 inches with 10 to 12 inches of positive ease recommended. I did quite a different approach for this. I did much less positive ease, maybe like 4 inches, and I knit a size 2, but I didn't block it, so I think that's a big thing. Like when you have cables, blocking obviously helps them relax a lot, but I think it looks pretty nice unblocked. And I just kept thinking about it, and I kept not really loving the style of sleeves. I just don't think it really fits with like my personal style or what looks good on my body or what I enjoy wearing. And then I figured, like, especially once I got down to the armpit slit, I was like, this looks nice. Like, I can just leave it like this. So I did that, and then in line with making it more tailored to my style, I also added some waist decreases which you can see here on the side. So I think I did like 3 decreases. And then I also made it a bit more cropped than the pattern recommends. So that is a fair amount of changes, and I'm really happy with the finished product. I'm thinking of adding some elastic in the armholes as well to help it not stretch out too much, but overall I really love it, and I think it's a fun piece to wear for personal events, but also I feel like it's kind of work appropriate, so I'm really happy with it, and it's very well written pattern, as with all of the Sari Nordlund patterns I've tried. I really appreciate her designs and her pattern writing style. So yeah, very happy with this one, and I did wind up wearing that for my wedding welcome event, which was pretty exciting. Next up, we have one that I think this was like almost done when I mentioned it in my previous podcast. I think that's the front. This is the Ilana Camisole by Masha Ziablikova, and this I obviously described previously because it was also a work in progress. It's a fingering weight cropped v-neck tank with these little 1x1 cables that are quite delicate and interesting. It is recommended with 4 to 5 inches of negative ease, so quite tight, and the sizing ranges from 27.5 to 42.5 inch bust. Personally, I used the Neighborhood Fiber Co.'s organic rustic fingering in Ednor Gardens, which I got at Rhinebeck. I just think it's such a beautiful color, one of my favorite yarns that I've ever used. It's also like quite soft and smooth. And I think when I shared it before, I was like mostly done just working up on finishing the body, which I did. It is quite skimpy. I feel like I could have done another ½ inch or inch of the body, but overall I am very happy with it, and I definitely would make another one. It was super fun and quick to knit up, and I've really been enjoying wearing it, and I think another one in either a fun color or a more neutral color would be a great addition to my wardrobe. I would definitely recommend this pattern. Next up, we have another one of my like all-star patterns. This is the 9 p.m. tank by Tiffany Tie, and I made 2 of these last summer. I talked about them, I think, in some of my earliest podcasts, and I decided kind of as a treat to myself post-wedding that I would make one of these using one of my favorite hand-dyed yarns that I've ever seen or purchased. It's Must You Always Be So Cheerful by the Golden Purls in the Fingering Singles yarn base. You might realize I have kind of a weakness for fingering singles, and I really like this one. It is not really pilling at all, even though I've worn this several times. It's this gorgeous, like, variegated pastel-y colors, and this pattern is perfect for like a single 100-gram ball or skein of fingering weight yarn, and I'm just really happy with it. I was kind of saving this yarn for a special project, and I really like this because it's such a simple but elegant pattern, and it's super easy and quick, but has enough kind of details and designs going on to make it pretty interesting. So I am very happy with this. It was pretty quick and fun, and I think I mentioned in my summer knitting plans, if I made another one of these, which I would consider, I would make the straps a bit wider just to cover my bra straps more securely. But overall, I really love this, and I've been enjoying wearing it thus far. The sizing is made to measure, and it comes with a calculator to figure that out, and overall it fits a bust of 28 to 62 inches with optional bust darts, waist shaping, and that option to customize the straps. So I really love this pattern and would definitely recommend it. You'll see it has double knitting straps and borders, as well as like a folded over bottom, so it's just like quite tailored and elegant, and I really enjoy it. Next up, we have a project that's pretty exciting for me. I mentioned this in my summer knitting plans as well because I consider this a summer project. I just finished it in June, and this is a self-drafted tank, which I've made a couple of self-drafted things before, like a hat and a couple of sweater vests, which is strange because I don't wear sweater vests that much, but I felt very drawn to design a couple. But this is definitely my favorite project that I've ever self-drafted, and it is in line with what you might notice I really enjoy, which is kind of like skimpy, cute, colorful tanks for summer. And like I mentioned, I talked about this a bit in my summer knitting plan, so I don't want to be too redundant, but I called this the Pippi tank because of the braided straps, which remind me of Pippi Longstocking, and I used the Wandering Flock fingering singles in Terrace Bridge, which is this beautiful kind of cream and light blue and slightly darker, like not quite navy, but like a dusty navy. I think it's so gorgeous. If I made another sample, I would do with a solid yarn, so the braided straps stand out a little more, but you can still see that fun detail. And for this one, I just wanted to do a v-neck. I wanted to do I-cord edging because I really love that. And then I wanted to do these fun braided straps, and you'll see the back is not a v-neck, it's just kind of like a little scoop neck. And it was quite fiddly to figure out the braids, but I am really happy with how they turned out. And if you like this pattern, let me know. And I am thinking of looking into pattern writing and grading, and maybe having this be my first pattern that I publish, because I haven't seen anything like it. Not to say it's not out there, but I've never seen a tank top with braided straps, which I can understand it was quite fiddly, but I think it's worth it. And it's not 100% finished because I have not weaved in all the ends, but it is basically finished, and I'm excited to garner the motivation to weave in the ends and do those finishing touches and then get to wear it. We have a couple more finished objects. Oh my goodness. The next one, I think this is going chronologically. I just finished up quite recently. I think in my summer knitting plans video, it was not even finished. So this is the Barbroe tank. It actually has a lower front. This is by Pernille Larsen. Sizing ranges from 25 to 53 inches with 1.5 to 4 inches of negative ease recommended. I think I made a size 2. And I love it so much. Once I saw the kind of lace scalloped design, I fell in love, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I featured it in my ultimate guide to fingering white tanks and tees video, and I thought this one was really elegant, and I was in the mood to knit more lace, so I am really happy with it. The repeat isn't as exciting as some other lace that I've worked on, but it's pretty satisfying, and it was quite motivating to want to get to the next stripe. I used Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the color light mint, and the pattern recommended 3 balls for my size, but I only had 2, and it's worked bottom up, so that's kind of tricky. So I preemptively decided to eliminate 3 out of the 15 repeats recommended for my size, and I split for the armpits when I had about 25 grams, or about a quarter of my yarn left, and I ended with, I think, about 4 grams. So I think that was the right call. I'm proud of my knitting intuition in this case, and it fits really well. It hits at a great place. I noticed that it was quite a full length tank, and I tend to like things a bit more cropped, so it worked out perfectly to just make it a little shorter, maybe 2 or 3 inches shorter. And I just think it's so cute. I blocked it out. It's all ready. I wore it. I did notice that on the right side where I hold my purse, it kind of stretched out the strap a little bit, so I'm thinking about adding in some elastic just to help the straps keep their shape, because they are just knitted and then have do they have an I-cord edge? I'm confused. I don't think they do. So, but I'll turn around. Oh yeah, the I-cord edge only goes up to here. There's an edging around the neckline, but not around the straps. So yeah, I absolutely love this. Would definitely recommend it. Even though it's bottom up, in this case, it was enjoyable, and you can still kind of tailor the length that you would like. And yeah, 100% recommend this. I really have enjoyed all the Pernille Larsen patterns that I've done, which isn't that many, but I've done this one. I've done the mosaic sweater, which is one of my favorite sweaters. I've also done a baby sweater, so I guess her expertise extends not just to making beautiful yarn for Knitting for Olive, but also making great patterns and well-written patterns, so very pleased with that. And then my last finished object is the Avani Shirt by Caidree, and I think this one also is pretty close to being done in my summer knitting plans, and I think I just had to add the edging. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it's so beautiful. For this one, I knitted a size medium, and I used Drops Flora in the color Magenta, which was left over from my baby sweater, so this is kind of a stash busting project. And for this one, the bust circumference ranges from 33.5 to 61 inches with 2 to 4 inches of positive ease recommended. And the body felt like it took forever because, as you've seen, I tend to make negative ease garments for the summer. And then, yeah, like I said, for this one, it has positive ease, so it had so many stitches for the body. It felt like it went on for ages, but I just chipped away at it. And then I found the I-cord edging really fun. I really enjoy I-cord edging. I don't know why. And then it looked kind of bleh before blocking, but I think that's just a feature of this yarn and the edging and stuff like that. So then once I blocked it, that really helped with the drape, and it made the edging look nice and polished. So I'm quite pleased with this, and I haven't tried wearing it yet. Blocking did make it soften up a little bit, but still this yarn is a wool alpaca blend, so I don't know if it's the most appropriate for the summer. I think I probably could get away in the spring with wearing it, and then certainly in like the cooler spring or fall days wearing it over a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt as more of like a slip over style. But I really like it. I really am enjoying v-necks. I haven't made that many v-neck things before, but I could see myself kind of incorporating that more, maybe this fall or winter making a v-neck sweater or a v-neck slip over. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just noticing that before I usually make like turtlenecks or crew necks for the summer, like scoop necks. And I really like v-necks, even though it involves like more shaping. I don't know, I think it's something for me to consider in my project planning moving forward. So now we're getting into works in progress. I feel like with that project and then with my works in progress, I'm in my pink era. I don't know why, but I'm just loving pink this spring and summer, all shades of pink, and I think there's something really fun about that. And they're, I feel like, all different enough that it's not like redundant, so I'm leaning into it. The first thing I want to talk about is my Salty Days sweater by Veronica Lindberg. I'm knitting a size small. The bust circumference for this pattern ranges from 40 to 79 inches with 6 to 8 inches of positive ease recommended. And it's, I think, recommended to use a DK yarn plus mohair, but I decided to just use one kind of light worsted yarn, which is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the color Blossom Heather, which is this beautiful, like slightly marled pink with some white in it, or cream. And this was so fun to work up. You might be able to see I finished the body. I always find it funny at this point of the sweater when you just have like a loose body. But next I'll probably work on the collar and then I'll pick up the sleeves. And I have seen online that, or on other people's podcasts, that they found the sleeves for their size a bit tight. So I'm going to do some snooping on Ravelry before I start the sleeves and see if I want to make a modification. I think I've seen some people, I'm trying to remember, like maybe Morgan Unraveled mentioned this, but maybe it was someone else. They basically just like picked up the number of stitches for the sleeves for the neck size up and then knit it like that, and that made the sleeves a bit nicer. So maybe I'll do the same. I just have to kind of figure that out. I love this type of shoulder shaping in the back where it's kind of like at an angle. It's the same for the Kaarina Tee. So this was just super fun to work on so far, and I think it does need a good block. But yeah, it's been really fun. The yarn is like quite bouncy and I don't find it itchy. It's not like super soft, but it's not super scratchy. So yeah, and I find this to be like a summery sweater, and I just feel like in the summer I do a lot of fingering weight projects, and I wanted myself to have an option for something a little bit more hefty if I'm ever in the mood, so I've just been working on that in between other projects. All right, so next up we have the Auguste Camisole by Joanna Garish. I think, I'm trying to remember, I have a recollection of showing this in a podcast when like the front panel was done. I was working on the back panel. I don't know if that was my summer knitting plans or if I was further along by then. But basically I started this before my honeymoon, and then I did not bring it. I brought some other projects like the Barbroe tank because this has been quite frustrating. I definitely have mentioned in a previous video that in my ultimate guide to fingering tanks and tees, I mentioned several patterns by Joanna Garish because I think her designs are so beautiful, but I'd actually never tried one, and I got several comments about how she has a lot of mistakes in her patterns and they're not well written, and I was like, oh no, like I love how her designs look, they seem so beautiful, but I was like, I have to try one out. And unfortunately, yeah, like there were numerous pretty bad mistakes in this pattern. It was pretty frustrating. So the first issue I noticed is that the first few rows of the pattern are just like missing. Like it says cast on X number of stitches and then like do this setup row and then start the chart, and there's just like a 4-stitch inconsistency between those. So I just repeated the setup row a couple more times to get to the correct number of stitches, and then the chart highlights where to stop for each size, and then it says in the written instructions, now you should have X number of stitches, and the number of stitches in the written instructions versus the chart were different. So I unraveled a couple of rows to go back to like before the chart says to stop, but like when I had the correct number of stitches. So that was okay. But then the pattern says that the size medium, which is what I'm knitting, will have, because it alternates between 4-stitch stockinette stripes and then 6-stitch cable stripes, and it says that the size medium will have a 4-stitch stockinette stripe between the 2 front pieces when you join them, but it actually has a 6-stitch cable stripe, which I saw someone else on Ravelry also mention this in their project notes, so it kind of validated, like, I wasn't doing something wrong, like, that's just how it is. And then looking at the sample photos, which I would guess might be a size medium, it does have a stockinette stripe at the front piece, but also it has 4 cable repeats before the front join, whereas in the written pattern, there are only 2. So I was like, what's happening? I emailed her about these inconsistencies, like, over a month ago. No reply. So from then, I was just very cautious about, like, looking ahead at the written instructions and at the chart. There was similar mistakes for the back. I adapted all of it. I mean, it's working up fine, and I do think that I'll like the final product, but, like, there should not be that many mistakes in a pattern that you pay for that has supposedly been tested. And she's a large enough pattern designer that you'd think it would also be tech edited, but maybe not. So I definitely would not recommend this pattern to beginners because it took a lot of mental effort to figure it out, and I had to leverage my knitting experience and, like, my confidence from that. Honestly, I don't know if I would recommend paying for this pattern in general, because I feel that if you pay for a pattern, it's because you want to be told what to do and you want the instructions to be correct. So unfortunately, I'm not pleased with this. And also, unfortunately, I love her patterns. She has one of my favorite, like, design styles of anyone. So I could see myself trying another pattern, maybe like a newer one, and seeing if it's better, and I'll keep you guys updated. But let me know in the comments down below if you've had any issues or successes with her patterns, and we'll kind of see what we can figure out. But I don't even know if I've showed it that well. Here it is. So you can see the little cable stripes and the stockinette stripes. It's a V-neck in the front and back, and then I'm just working on the body. One thing I noticed is that it does not include an edging for, like, the front or back or armholes. So we'll have to see, like, once, I might probably just, add the straps, block it, and then see what I think. I can always just add, like, a 3-stitch I-cord edging myself. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't even mention I am using Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Strawberry Ice Cream, which I really enjoy. And this is quite an open gauge. I think, oh no, she recommends using 2 strands of Knitting for Olive Cashmere, so it's probably a little bit different. It's on 3.75 millimeter needles, so it's, for me, quite an open gauge, more than I've ever done before with this yarn. But I actually do like it. I'm hoping that when it blocks, it will still look okay, and we'll see how it turns out. The bust ranges from 30 to 47 inches with 0 to 2 inches of positive ease recommended, and I'm doing a size medium to have, like, neutral ease. So I'll keep you updated. I might try reaching out to her again, I don't know. But yeah, I cannot in good conscience recommend this pattern, and I will keep you updated on how this pattern turns out and if I try anything else by the same designer. Next up, we have another pink project. This is my second mixed rib cami by Florence Miller. Unlike the last pattern, this is super clear, amazing pattern, including, I would say, for beginners, because it looks quite interesting, but it's just ribbing. And I love the first one of these I made last summer. I used Knitting for Olive Merino in lavender blue, which was really beautiful, and now I'm using Knitting for Olive Merino in pink daisies. So this, honestly, to me, is not the most fun to knit because you can't completely zone out, like, for a stockinette project, but it's not super interesting and engaging like lace or cables. It's just, like, a little annoying with the mixed rib, but the effect is beautiful and very flattering because of the stretch that it gives. So this is definitely the one I have finished. The tank I throw on the most often. I love just wearing it with, like, jeans or a cute skirt or whatever, so I think I'll be very happy to have a second one. And the size ranges, fit a bust of 29.5 to 61 inches with 4 to 6 inches of negative ease recommended. So I really love this. Can't say enough good things about this pattern and the finished product, aside from, like I said, it can get a little drudgerous, especially once you join. So I have joined and I'm just chipping away at it when I go on the subway or things like that, because it is, like, an easy thing to remember. There's no, like, chart or anything to follow. And then I am adding, I don't know if you can see, but I am adding the waist shaping, which there are instructions for in the pattern. So yeah, I'm really excited. I also have to add the edging, I think, so I might actually pause the body and add the edging, and then I will keep you updated on this, hoping to finish it probably in the next few weeks. Like I said, it's not my main WIP, but I'm just working on it in between other things. And then my last WIP that I actually just started a couple days ago is the Filigree Cami by Marzyna Kolicek. And I think this one is so cool. It is a lace back tank top with buttons up the back, and it's worked bottom up in panels, which is an interesting construction. I'm in a lace mood, so it has been fun to work on this one, and I didn't realize, but it also has some cable components to create quite a textured pattern. And I feel like this is one that maybe could benefit from some block. Oh, wait, did I just show you the wrong side? Oh yeah, that was the wrong side. But I do think it, oh yeah, that looks way better. But I do think it could benefit from a little block and a little bit of a stretch as well. So this is like half of the back and it's quite thin. So I feel like it needs to be like, and that'll be better. So this is the first back panel. I just finished it, and then I will start the second one, which will have buttonholes. I don't have any buttons selected, so I might see if there's any online that I like, or I might check out one of my local yarn stores. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm using the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Cream, which I have left over for my adapted Kaarina Tee / tank. And the sizing for this one ranges from 31.5 to 60-inch bust, with neutral ease recommended. So I'm really enjoying this. I feel like the fabric will be quite airy and nice to wear even on really hot days. So the only issue is I don't think you can wear a bra with it really, but we'll see. And also, I don't know, like who cares? Sometimes you can just wear a bra and you see a bra and it's like, all right, well, the shirt's still cute. So we'll see what I decide. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying working on this. It's quite fun and engaging. And I think this is the first project I've worked on where sometimes you have to use 2 cable needles at the same time to like hold different stitches in different places. So at first I was like, what the heck? Like this is too, I don't know if I want to be doing that much. But then I was like, well, I don't know, that's pretty cool, and it's good to like challenge myself and try new things as a knitter. So now that I got the hang of it, it is quite fun. So really enjoying that. And then I think my next WIP that I'll start once I maybe finish one of these will be a linen striped tank that I'm planning to self-draft, which I've talked about a little bit. I have a couple of linen and cotton blend yarns, and I hopefully will get that started in the next few weeks as well. I don't know if I've talked, I feel like it's been such a long time. I'm having the feeling that maybe I've talked about these, but I don't think so, at least not in a podcast. So I have a couple of acquisitions that are pretty exciting. They're both from Wool & Co. And I got a gift card for my birthday from a friend, which was really kind. And I decided to get 2 single ply fingering because that's my obsession for summer. So the first one is Mono Still Uruguay Fino in the color Dog Rose. And this is, I think, 70% merino, 30% silk. And it has about 450 meters in a 100 gram skein, so quite fine. And I just find it so beautiful in my pink era still. You can definitely feel the silk and kind of see it has like a bit of a sheen to it. So I think this is really pretty. I mentioned in my summer knitting plans, I'm thinking of making the mini mock neck by Jessie Made Designs using this yarn. I think that would be so beautiful. So we'll see. I don't know if I'll have time this summer, but could always do that towards the beginning of fall or maybe next year. And then the second one, oh my gosh, this color is so pretty. This is from Madeline Tosh, and I hadn't tried either of these brands before, so I'm excited to try them out. And this is Tosh Merino Light, which is 100% superwash merino wool, and the color is called Glass Bottom Boat. So it's this beautiful, vibrant teal, and it has 384 meters or 420 yards in 100 grams. So I actually don't even have a project plan for this one. I am going to wait for inspiration to strike. I don't know if I'll have a chance to use it this year or if I'll save it for next year, but of course I would love to make a tank top with it. I do love to make like single skein tank tops that are, you know, just a great way to like highlight a special yarn. I could also potentially combine this with another yarn. I don't know, haven't decided yet, but we will see. And I just think it is so beautiful. So I'm really excited about both of these to try out. Yarns from companies that I haven't gotten to experience before, and also just for these beautiful summery colors. So if you got to the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope again that you'll consider subscribing to follow along with my future knitting adventures, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.